Eurocentric beauty standards have dominated the planet for the better part of 1,000 years, and that one is one that people resent a lot. It pisses them off because it's tragic, because it's unfair, and life is unfair. It's not to say there aren't beautiful people of all races, there definitely are, but white people, I think overall, like the average person, is just more attractive to look at, more pleasant to look at, and then the good-looking white people just completely dominate. I mean, angular features, light-colored eyes, fair skin, these sorts of things have been sought after and desired for many, many centuries. And if it weren't true, then you wouldn't have societies like South Korea, for example. They have a higher average IQ than we do, yet their entire celebrity culture is based around making their pop culture figures look like white people. Their industry of plastic surgery over there has become so explosive in popularity, it's now normal for parents to give their kids a graduation gift when they finish high school or college, a gift of plastic surgery to become more attractive. But if you look at their models for plastic surgery and what their like K-pop stars look like, they all look like white people. You have a group of people who, in terms of overall raw analytical intelligence, are smarter than white people by a little bit. They still believe that white people are the epitome of beauty. And I don't think that things like beauty or music or art are as subjective as we think they are. I think the idea that beauty and art is subjective is one of those postmodern lies, which is the same reason why we've normalized ugly people or fat people or horrible music. It's tragic, but it's true.
All right. So you guys heard what this guy had to say. This guy's name is Jackson Price. He's on Instagram. He might be, I know he's on X, formerly known as Twitter. I don't know if he's on YouTube or anything else. But this guy is a part of the brown pill community. As you guys know, if you watch my channel, I've talked about the pill community, the medicine cabinet, if you will. You got the red pill that started kind of all of this stuff off, and the red pill introduced us to the blue pill, which isn't necessarily a movement. It's just the antithesis of the red pill. And then we had the black pill. This is with your looks maxers like clavicular and stuff like that. And then now you have the brown pill. Now, the brown pill is basically an anti-black. I call it BAMI, right? They hate all the BAMIs. That is the blacks, the Africans, the Muslims, and the Indians. Obviously, they hate the Pakistanis too, but they don't really differentiate between Indian and Pakistani. And oddly enough, Mexicans aren't necessarily in that number. It's like their relationship, the brown pill relationship with Hispanics it's complicated. They hate them, but they kind of give them a pass, but they kind of don't. Super weird. Most of the BAMI hate, black, African, Muslim, Indian, most of that hate is predicated on crimes that black people commit in America that go viral on X. It's predicated on African crime in the UK and in Europe as a whole. It is predicated on Muslim and Indian and Pakistani sex crimes that are propagated against, perpetrated against white women in Europe. That's really where it comes from. So there's more of a kinetic criminal component to it. And all of this is kind of based upon the replacement theory. This is basically, whites, Europeans, Anglo-Saxons saying that they are being replaced, which I'm not going to argue. I won't even say kind of, they are. Like the replacement theory at this point, I don't really think anybody can deny it with how, people are being moved into this place and moved into that place. And then there's certain other places where they're not being moved into. So I'm not going to necessarily deny replacement theory, but that's what it is. It is essentially replacement theory mixed with, crime stats and sociological, socioeconomic, socio-criminal things. So it exists for a reason, and I'm not going to necessarily say that it shouldn't exist, but that's essentially what it is. Now, what this guy is talking about is European beauty standards, and I don't necessarily disagree with this guy. I just don't necessarily agree. What I'm going to say is this, and I really just want to get your guys' take. I want to know, what do you guys feel about this? Because me personally, I think the most beautiful people are mixed race, Now, I'm not saying that just across the board. I'm saying that more at the higher end, because mixed race people, and keep in mind, when I say mixed race, I don't mean black and white, black and something else. I just mean just something and something, because you always get this very unique looking person. It's always cool to see an exotic person, if you will. But I'm talking about at the higher end, because if you guys know, you know, mixed race people can go either way. They're either like really beautiful or horrendously ugly. There's really no in between. But what this guy is saying is European beauty standards are the gold standard for the world, and everybody's chasing it. And, you know, white people we just look so much better than everyone else. This is similar to what black people did when they were, you know, during the lockdowns, and they were screaming, "We was kangs," and, you know, they were saying that black women, you know, were the beauty standard for so long. You know, they were saying that black women had the big butt and white women didn't want to have it, and then all of a sudden they did want to have it. And then they were saying, you know, black women had all the curves, and then white women didn't want to have curves. But then all of a sudden now they want the curves. Then they were saying, you know, black women had full lips and white women didn't want to have full lips, but now they do want to have full lips. So they were kind of basically trying to say that black women were the beauty standard for a long time, and that other people just, you know, kind of took it and didn't give black women credit. When these social movements pop up, this is one of the things that happen. People start talking about our ancestors and we was kangs and we invented everything. They do all of this. This is one of the ways they get people to identify with the social movement. So it kind of just is what it is. But this guy is saying that the European beauty standard is the gold standard for the world, and that the average looking white person is more pleasant to look at than anyone else. And then the top tier of white people are just crushing everyone else. I don't necessarily know that I agree with that, which is why I want to get your guys' opinion. I don't think that an average looking person of any race is better looking, more pleasurable to look at than an average looking person of another race, let alone like the above average people in that race. Because that's why it's called average. Like ugly is ugly, hot is hot, you know, average is average. Like I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. But if you are an average white person, I don't necessarily think that you're better looking than the average like Hawaiian person, you know, Polynesian, or, you know, average Japanese or Chinese or whatever the case might be. Once again, I could be wrong. You guys let me know what you think. But the only reason I'm making this video is because when we talk about the beauty standard, it's funny that these guys, I don't think these guys know how the European beauty standard got to where it is or why it works that way. And just, you know, for history's sake, the first iteration of the European beauty standard being placed on everyone else actually comes from Greece, right? Alexander the Great was conquering everybody. He was lobbing off heads and he was bartering deals for people to surrender. And the guy went far and wide from like Macedonia or Greece to like India, and he conquered everything. And the way he kept his kingdom, if you will, together was he would have his officials marry people of nobility, like the nobles of the places that he conquered. He would have his officials, you know, take wives and have kids and everything like that, so that there would be peace. There would be a bona fide reason to not attack and things like that. And this is one of the reasons why his kingdom got broken up. Like the Greek Empire was never officially defeated. It didn't just fall. It kind of just dissolved into what we know to be the Roman Empire. And it was kind of absorbed by Rome. And then Rome took on all the practices of the Greek Empire. So race mixing was always a thing, right? And race mixing was such a big thing between the Greeks and the Romans that becoming a Roman citizen was the mark of success, not race. Not if you look like, I don't know if you guys are Christians, Apostle Paul. Apostle Paul was a full-on Jew. He was a full-on Israelite, but he was also a Roman citizen, and that trumped everything else. The citizenship of Rome trumped everything else. The Jews, the Israelites, they were all Arabs. So he was an Arab, but he was also a Roman citizen. Now, I don't know what he looked like. I don't know what his dad was. I don't know what his mom was. I just know he was a Roman citizen. So he could have been mixed. I don't know. I'm just simply saying race mixing was such a big issue between the Greek Empire and the Roman Empire that the citizenship of Greece, the citizenship of a Greek territory, the citizenship of Rome or Roman territory that trumped everything else. Like, people weren't white or black back then, right? White and black didn't really become a real salient thing until slaves got freed. And then you had the Italians fighting with the Irish about who's more white and everything like that. And then, there's a whole thing. I'm not going to do a whole racial dichotomy breakdown, but white and black weren't real salient things until slavery ended. So when you think about these European beauty standards come from conquer and conquest, not necessarily, oh, these people are just better looking. Because you got to think, if you're Alexander the Great or you're some Roman person, you go out and you conquer and your generals marry these people and all of a sudden they're the nobility. They have kids. All those kids, like, there's going to be kids who are not mixed and they don't have a Roman dad. They don't have a Greek dad. And then there's going to be the kids who do. So all of a sudden, the people who do have a Greek dad, these people have elevated status. The people who do have a Roman dad, they have elevated status. The people who are just in that territory, they're going to be second-class citizens. In case you guys didn't know, the whole world worked off of class systems, and like there were classes, right? I'm not going to go into that. So I don't necessarily think that white people are better looking. I think because Europe conquered the world, because there would be so many people in high positions of power and high positions of status, it just became a thing unto itself. They just associated fair skin, light skin with power and privilege and everything like that. And maybe there did become, a social component where people who were lighter skinned started getting better treatment. I don't know. I'm not a historian. I'm just adding a little bit of context to what this guy said. So you guys see how far we can really, really take this, right? I'm not necessarily disagreeing with this guy. I really want to get your guys' take on all of this because I see people do this. I see people do this kind of stuff where they say, we're better looking, the European beauty standard. And it's like, I don't necessarily agree that white people are better looking. Like, he mentioned Korea and how these people, get the plastic surgery to look white. And it's like, yes, they get the plastic surgery to look white, but they're also doing this predominantly in the K-pop sector. And if you don't know, K-pop is a ripoff of European entertainment. Like, the Beatles were like the first boy band, and then you had like all these other people and the Jackson 5 and the Backstreet Boys and this people and that people. And now it's finally over there in Korea, and now they're doing their thing. So it's like, do they actually want to look white? Or because, when you see Korean women coming to America, they don't just rush to marry white guys. Like, they do, but they don't. The Korean birth rate is falling. It's not falling because, Korean women only want white men. It's falling for economic reasons and things like that. But even in America, American white women are not beating down the door to marry white men and have their babies. Now, there's a lot more to that, but I don't necessarily agree that white people are more beautiful. Like, he put it out there as though just genetically we are superior. And it's like, I get why you would say that, but if you okay, colorism, we know colorism is a real thing. You go to Mexico, you go to Central America, you go to South America. It's a real thing. Like, colorism is a definitive and real thing. They have a class system. Go to Brazil. The dark-skinned Brazilians, they get treated like second-class citizens. What is it? The Dominicans. Papi, me no black, papi. Like, that's their whole thing. If you look up the comedian Godfrey, he does a whole bit about that.
I know black. Impossible. I know black. I'm Dominican. I'm Puerto Rican. I know black. Be looking just like me. Be having the same hair. I be touching it like, it's not the same. It's not the same, papi. It's not the same. Negro nunca. I know nunca. I know black. I'm like, no, you black. No. I know black. Dominica. I go, I know, but you're black. No, papi. I know black.
You got these Dominicans on an island with Haitians, and they scream to the top of their lungs that they're not black. Is it because the blacks are ugly, or is it just because of the social and economic consequences of being darker? I believe race is a salient thing. I believe it's real. I believe beauty is, for the most part, objective. Like, beauty is one of those things, when you see it, it's understood. Like, it doesn't have to be explained. Beauty is objective. But I don't necessarily believe that the European beauty standard, like just, oh, I'm white, I'm this, I'm that. I don't believe these people want to be lighter. People in South America, Mexico, Central America, stuff like that. I don't think they want to be lighter because they, are striving for a European beauty standard. I think it's just more of a by proxy thing. Europe, the Europeans went and conquered South America, and all the people in positions of power, the higher class people, they had all the power, they had all the privilege. That was what was seen as beneficial, and that was what was seen as good. And so over time, as the power died off, there is still class, there's still class privilege. There's still a psychological privilege that comes with being of lighter skin. But is it actually objectively more beautiful? Like I said, I don't necessarily think that, but I really want to know what you guys think. Like, do you guys believe that the European beauty standard is the gold standard, or are these guys just kind of putting too much sauce on the dish? Let me know. I think it's an interesting thing to talk about.